Be sure to come back here next week where we put some nails in a coffin for Jason X, where evil gets an upgrade. That was weird. What was that? Maybe I shouldn't have eaten that heart. So you see what happened there last week, so I'm going to try something, see if I can remove this possession.
Klaatu, Veranda.
Damn it. Let me try this again.
Klaatu, Verata, Nikto.
Okay, good. Looks like it worked.
I have exorcised the demons.
Hey everybody, I'm back as your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete, and this is my series, Nails in a Coffin, where we learn that with great kills, there must also come great nails. If you're new here, please do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I get a video out every week, and I've also covered Child's Play franchise, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Urban Legend, and other franchises as well. So I have a link up here. I hope you check it out. We're 10 movies in now with the Friday the 13th franchise, and today we're putting nails in a coffin for Jason X, where evil gets an upgrade. We don't spend a lot of time on Crystal Lake this week. We start there, but we do spend most of our time in space. Before we get started, here's a summary of the average nails in a coffin for all the movies I've covered so far. This movie takes place after Freddy vs. Jason, which we will be covering next week. But Jason X was released first, which is why I'm covering it now. This movie starts in the year of 2010. Jason is being held captive in the Crystal Lake Research Facility. He's chained up and awaiting cryogenic suspension. We find out from the good old Dr. Decker that Jason has regenerative capabilities and they want to study Jason instead of cryo-freezing him. Decker and his staff of soldiers approach where they think it's Jason chained up. There's a blanket over the body since the soldier that was watching it earlier was kind of creeped out by Jason. When they remove the blanket, they see the dead soldier. We didn't see how Jason escaped his restraints and killed the soldier, so we're not going to be able to nail him. As soon as everyone sees that Jason is no longer in restraints, Jason surprises them all very quickly and he dispatches 4 of the soldiers pretty easily. He bludgeons 2 of them, one soldier kills another by not knowing how really to use a gun, and then Jason breaks another soldier's neck with the chain. I'm going to rate all these guys, all 4 of them, at the same time, and each of them are going to get 1 nail in the coffin. These 4 people are sorry excuse for a soldier, and they all acted like rookies. You would think they'd be more prepared when attempting to move a known mass murderer, especially somebody like Jason with regenerative capabilities, which they knew of. You know, if they weren't soldiers, maybe I would have given them more nails, but they acted like if they had 0 training, and since they're supposed to be soldiers, I'm going to hold them to a little bit of a higher standard, and they failed miserably, each of them earning 1 nail in the coffin. While Jason was killing the soldiers, Dr. Wimmer was beating feet and running for the exit. However, before he can get away, Jason takes a noose pole and throws it at the professor, impaling him. Now, I've been thinking a little bit more about my rankings. I'm going to take more into consideration the decisions that may have led up to the victim's death. In this case, the doctor had a mass murderer with regenerative capabilities ready for cryo-freeze, but he wanted to keep him soft so he can examine him and use that for profit. This is just like Burke from Aliens, who didn't want to kill the aliens so they can, capture them and study them, again, used for profit. So taking that all into consideration, Dr. Wimmer, you're going to get 1 nail in the coffin. His greed and curiosity led to him getting killed, and this whole operation would not have been a failure if Jason wasn't able to escape so easily. So Dr. Wimmer is definitely going to get 1 nail in the coffin. Sergeant Marcus dies when he's thrown through a metal door, so we don't exactly see how that occurred. Rowan was by the door and it just fell over with the sergeant's body on it. I'm not going to be able to give him any nails since I didn't see exactly how it happened. After Jason kills everybody, Rowan was able to lure him into the cryogenic room. She shoots him a couple times with the shotgun and gets him to back up into the cryogenic pod. As Jason starts to cryo-freeze, he actually ruptures the pod with his machete and stabs Rowan in the abdomen. And this is kind of a poor design choice for a cryogenic pod if it can be breached that easily, as it's not really going to be the best vessel for cryo-freezing. So with the pod breached, cryogenic fluid fills into the sealed room, freezing both Jason and Rowan. we jump to 445 years later, now in the year 2455. Earth has become too polluted to sustain life, and humanity has moved to Earth too. Some students are on a field trip led with their professor. They enter the Camp Crystal Lake research facility, and they find a still frozen Jason and Rowan, whom they both take back to their spaceship, the Grendel. Jason is taken to the morgue, and he's being examined by Adrienne, and he's starting to thaw. When two of the other students are enjoying themselves together, Jason awakens, as if by a sex alarm clock, so to speak. He grabs Adrienne by the head and dunks her head in a bath of liquid nitrogen. He then takes her frozen head and bashes it on the table. This is probably the most known kill from this movie, and it's going to earn Adrienne 2 nails in a coffin. As soon as she was grabbed, she started to struggle and scream. She tried to get away from Jason, but she was overpowered, and he killed her in a really brutal way. Not sure how much of the kill she actually felt, but I do think she deserves at least 2 nails in the coffin. The crew of the Grendel now know that Jason has revived and he's killing again. Sergeant Brodsky makes an announcement on the Grendel telling his team of grunts to arm up, since they have a hostile on board. Stoney was in his room with Kinza, and when he opens the door, Jason is there and he gets impaled with the machete. Stoney never knew what hit him, and I'm going to give him 2 nails in the coffin. He heard the announcement of a hostile on board, and he was about to go to his post. He opened the door, and while he was turned around looking at his girlfriend Kinza, Jason has killed him. He had no chance to defend himself or even to prevent his death. So that's why I'm going to give Stoney 2 nails in the coffin. Dallas and Azrael are next. They were playing a game in their VR holodeck room. Jason interrupts them, and Dallas and Azrael first think he's part of the game. Dallas ends the game, and then Azrael and Dallas see Jason standing there, and they look really confused. As Azrael stands up, Jason walks off to him and grabs him by the throat. Dallas grabs his sidearm and starts to shoot Jason. This causes Jason to drop Azrael. But then Azrael jumps on Jason's back and tries to choke him. Jason shakes Azrael off, pulls him around, and then snaps his back, pretty much breaking him in two. He then goes up to Dallas. He's able to grab him and smash his head into the wall, killing him. Azrael first, I'm going to give him 2 nails in a coffin. He was overpowered by Jason, and when he first saw him, he really didn't know what was going on. Dallas shot Jason, causing him to drop Azrael. But then Azrael did jump on Jason's back, and this did, cause Dallas not to have a shot. But he didn't do anything. He didn't slow Jason down when he jumped on his back. And I was torn between him being stupid for jumping on Jason's back and him being brave for not freezing and actually wanting to fight and get him. So I'm going to have to go down the middle and give him 2 nails in a coffin, since I don't think he did anything stupid enough to do 1 nail, and I don't think he did enough to earn 3 nails. So 2 nails in a coffin it is. Dallas, he just squeaks out 3 nails in a coffin. When Jason grabbed Azrael, the first thing he did was grab his gun and shoot Jason. But as I just previously stated, Azrael caused Dallas not to have a shot. Dallas was standing too close to Jason when Jason was breaking his back, and Jason was able to grab Dallas and smash his head into the wall. But Dallas did not freeze. I like his instinct that he wanted to go shoot Jason as soon as Jason targeted Azrael. He didn't freeze, and when you look at the other kills in this movie, I think you'll agree that Dallas definitely deserves at least his 3 nails in a coffin. A contingent of soldiers are all killed by Jason next. They're all armed up and clearing a room on the Grendel. Jason kind of pulled a solid snake, and he grabs Sven from behind and breaks his neck. Another typical Jason kill, with him surprising somebody from behind and then killing them. And I pretty much always give these kills 2 nails in a coffin, and that's what I'm going to do here and give Sven 2 nails in a coffin. Condor, he was clearing the room on an upper deck. Jason actually showed up behind him. Condor does a combat roll and attempts to use his fist to fight Jason. Condor gets a few shots in, but Jason just hits him once, and then Condor falls over the railing and lands in a giant drill in the room. For what the purpose of this drill actually had, I don't know. Condor, he did earn himself 1 nail in the coffin. He does that combat roll, and he forgot that he was carrying a BFG. He never even tried to use it. He just decided to use close quarters combat with this giant killing machine. And once he fell over the railing, he pretty much got screwed. So this dumbass is only going to get 1 nail in the coffin. Gecko was Jason's next victim. She sees that Condor is screwed, and she's still clearing the room, looking for Jason. She backs up right into Jason in the darkness, and he just grabs her and slashes her throat with his machete. Gecko, I'm going to give her one nail in the coffin. Why, if you're military trained and clearing a room, would you be walking backwards the entire time? You have no idea what you're walking into. And in this case, she walked right into Jason and died because of her stupidity. Kicker, well, he kicks the bucket next. He finds Gecko and she dies in his arms. Jason appears next to him. He fires his gun into Jason, causing Jason to actually fall on a large crane hook. Kicker raises the hook, and Jason is now suspended. Kicker crosses into Sergeant Brodsky, and Sergeant Brodsky tells him, hey, don't take your eyes off Jason. Does he listen to this? No, but Jason does lift himself off the crane, and he slices Kicker in half with his machete. I'm still going to give Kicker 3 nails in a coffin. I can't really hold him against him for thinking that Jason wasn't dead and on the hook. He did shoot Jason when he had a chance, and when he saw Jason was impaled on the crane hook, he even lifted it up to secure a body. I don't think he had any inclination that Jason would, still be alive and be able to free himself. So, Kicker gets 3 nails in a coffin. Briggs dies next, but this kill was off screen, but she was found impaled on a crane hook. Off screen, can't give her any nails. But Grendel pilot Lou Goddard does die next when Jason appears behind him and he then gets hacked apart with Jason's machete. I'm going to give Goddard 2 nails in a coffin. He was sitting in his pilot seat. He turned around, saw Jason, and before he even knew what else was really going on, he was hacked to pieces with Jason's machete. He really didn't have an opportunity to do anything other than die, so I'm going to give Goddard 2 nails in the coffin. Since the pilot of the Grendel was killed, the Grendel was about to dock at a space station. Since he's now dead and unable to pilot the Grendel crashes into the space station, causing a massive chain of explosions, killing everybody on board. And I think the screenwriter actually stated that 19,727 people died in that explosion, giving Jason the highest body count by far, but I'm not going to be able to nail any of those victims. All the remaining survivors are on the bridge of the Grendel. Jason jumps through the window and everybody runs away except Professor Lowe. He's another idiot that wants to capture and study Jason, probably for profit. Professor Lowe tries to talk to Jason and reason with him. Jason grabs his original machete, and then the moron professor thinks, hey, it's all good now. Jason just wanted his machete. But the screen cuts away, but we do know what happens. He does get decapitated. The killing blow was off screen, but I'm still going to give this idiot 1 nail in the coffin. It's pretty self-explanatory why he gets 1 nail, so not much else to say about this example of stupid. Trevor is sitting in front of a control panel. He sits back in his chair to see the decapitated head of Professor Lowe. It's like Jason must have had a sense of humor here, showing Trevor the head before he kills him. So Jason does take Trevor's head and smashes it against the control panel multiple times, killing him. Not really much to say here. I'm going to give Trevor 2 nails in a coffin. He sat back, saw a decapitated head, and before he really do anything, Jason grabbed his head and smashed it into bits. So, 2 nails for Trevor. Since the Grendel crashed into that space station, it's pretty badly damaged, and everybody is planning to escape on the Grendel shuttle. As the ship is being prepared, Jason does intercept them, and on board the shuttle, Kinza pretty much has a panic attack, and she launches the shuttle without releasing the fuel line, causing it to crash into the ship's hull. I can empathize with Kinza that she was having a panic attack, but I really can't give her more than 1 nail in the coffin. She pretty much committed suicide and almost ruined the chance of survival for the other people. I feel a little bit bad about giving her 1 nail in the coffin because she was having a panic attack, but I do think the actress did a great job with the performance right here, but she's still only going to get 1 nail in the coffin. With only 25 minutes left in the movie, we finally get the birth of Uber Jason. Jason's about to kill Rowan, Waylander, and Janessa. I guess in the future people have really weird names. He's interrupted by Sunaran, who introduces Jason to KM-14. She's an android that he built. She shoots the hell out of Jason and she kicks the crap out of him. She seemingly kills Jason by knocking him into the nanite-equipped medical station, and she blasts off his right arm, his left leg, his left ribcage, and finally part of his head. The survivors send out a distress call and they receive a reply from a nearby patrol shuttle who's en route. I'm not sure if I should count this as a death for Jason. Okay, I'm not going to count it. With everyone placing charges around the Grendel, the Nanite medical station turns on and scans Jason. This medical station was designed to repair damaged tissue. Well, the machine scans Jason and says it's insufficient tissue for reconstruction. So it uses metal material from around the room and it turns Jason into Uber Jason. So there are charges all around the ship when Uber Jason awakens. Ham tries to fight him again, but he just takes her head off. Jason starts to throw Waylander around the room, gravely injuring him. Rowan, Janessa, and Sunaran are able to escape the room, but Waylander, who has the detonator, sacrifices himself, blowing the charges. Waylander, I'm giving you 4 nails in a coffin. He was no match for Uber Jason, and Waylander had his back broken when Jason was throwing him around the room, and he pretty much sacrificed himself so the others can get away. When a victim makes a sacrifice like that so they can save others, that's what getting 4 nails in a coffin is all about. It's a selfless act in the face of danger so others may live. It hasn't happened too much in this franchise, but I'll always give a sacrifice play like this, especially when you're critically injured. 4 nails in the coffin. The rescue ship is approaching the Grendel, and the survivors think that they're saved. However, the explosion didn't kill Jason. Jason punches through the wall of the Grendel, causing a vacuum into space, and this is pulling everything out through this little hole in the wall. Janessa is about to be pulled through, and she's holding on as hard as she can, but eventually she does get pulled through the hole in the wall, and she's sucked through a metal grate into space. Janessa held on for as long as she could. She had a lot of fight in her. She didn't give up, and I'm going to give her 3 nails in a coffin because she actually did try her hardest before she died. And in a universe like Friday the 13th, when you try that hard, have that much fight in you, you're going to get 3 nails in the coffin. The final death in Jason X is Sergeant Brodsky. Rowan and Sunaran are making it to the rescue ship while the Grendel is exploding. Jason is quickly approaching to kill them, but Sergeant Brodsky appears in his spacesuit and closes the hatch. The rescue ship detaches from the Grendel, and the Sergeant and Jason go at each other for a final battle. After the explosion, they see Jason flying towards the rescue ship, but Brodsky intercepts him and rides him down to Earth, being emulated during the atmospheric entry. The last death in this movie, you guessed it, 4 nails in a coffin. Sergeant Brodsky was badass. He saved the others by sacrificing himself, dying in an epic way, burning up in the Earth atmosphere, fighting Jason to the bitter end. And like I said earlier, these type of deaths are what getting 4 nails in a coffin is all about. Sergeant Brodsky, you earned it. The movie ends with some campers by a lake on Earth 2, and they look at what they think is a shooting star. Well, we then see Jason's mask sink to the bottom of the lake, and we hear Jason's theme. There we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Those are my nails in the coffin for Jason X. Here's a summary of all the nails I've awarded. Here's a summary of the average nails in a coffin for all the Friday the 13th movies I've covered so far. Be sure to come back here next week for Nails in a Coffin on Freddy vs. Jason. Please hit that subscribe button just so we can see what happens next week. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. I am your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete, and remember, with great kills, there must also come great nails.